Roll call, please. Yes, please.
Ms. Craig? Here. Mr. Hyden?
Here.
Mr. Giuliano?
Here.
Mr. Van Dam? Here. Mrs. Steele? Here. Mrs. Cole? Here. Mr. Woody? Here. Mr. D'Agostino?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Would you please join me in the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Sussex-Wantage Regional School District Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the school building, and notice of said meeting sent to the New Jersey Herald and the Star Ledger.
The Sussex-Wantage Regional School District is a responsible, caring, child-centered community. Our mission is to educate each individual to become a competent, lifelong learner, and productive, responsible citizen by providing challenging opportunities in a safe environment through a partnership of families, schools, and communities.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to the report of the Superintendent of Schools.
Good this evening, everyone. I'd like to invite Mr. Schwartz up to present Sussex School Superintendent. Good evening, Mr. Ball, Mr. D'Agostino, members of our Board of Education, and members of our audience tonight. While our circumstances continue to be anything but normal, our students have started the school year off eager to engage in the learning process again and continue to impress us. Before I begin tonight, I would like to acknowledge the hard work and determination of all of our students, teachers, and parents. It takes patience and flexibility, determination and courage, organization, and a variety of other skill sets to ensure that each child is successful. I would like to thank the entire SMS community for all that they have done for our students. Tonight, I will recognize a student from each grade level that has gone above and beyond to start this year. The 6th grade student of the month for November is Gabrielle D. Gabby is a young lady that approaches every day and every class eager to learn. Her positive attitude and work ethic is contagious within her Google Meets and is something that our teachers look forward to and are grateful for each day. As the first marking period comes to a close, it is no surprise that Gabby has done extremely well in all of her classes. Gabby's teacher stated the following: the 6th grade team nominates Gabrielle D. for the November Students of the Month. Gabby is an all-remote student that has been extremely successful in that platform. She is a conscientious and responsible student who always strives to do her best. She provides positive and engaging feedback during all of our Google Meets. We have gotten to know her quite well despite the virtual platform and look forward to seeing all that Gabby will accomplish throughout the year. Please join me in congratulating Gabby as the 6th grade student.
Yep, congratulations. Great job. Keep it up.
The 7th grade student of the month for November is Matthew Carey. The virtual realm of education has brought several challenges to many students along the way. The ability to stay organized, executive functioning skills, flexibility, and internal motivation have all been tested. As one of our all-virtual students, Matthew is an exemplar when it comes to these skill sets. He is where he needs to be, doing what he needs to do, and submitting what he needs to, each and every day. In the ever-changing education world that we are currently in, Matthew is a constant. Matthew's teacher stated the following: Matthew has been very diligent this year as an all-virtual student. He shows up for all of his meets, asks questions, and participates in classroom discussions. Matthew continues to go above and beyond and hasn't missed a beat. I know that his teachers look forward to working with him for the remainder of the year and cannot wait to see all that he is able to accomplish. Please join me in congratulating Matthew as the 7th grade student of the month.
Congratulations again, Matt. The medal. Yep, awesome job.
The 8th grade student for the month of November is Cody Dicarlo. Tonight I am going to share a statement from Cody's teachers that speaks to why he is earning this recognition. The 8th grade team nominates Cody Dicarlo for the Student of the Month. Cody is an outstanding student and goes above and beyond what is asked of him. He is thoughtful and caring towards his peers. He is always respectful towards his teachers and adults in the school building. His personality and positive attitude brightens up the classroom. Unlike the first 2 students, Cody is in school 2 days a week and working from home the other 3. The transition between the 2 can be overwhelming to some, but Cody handles it in stride. When I met with Cody, his teachers stated the following. When I met with Cody, like his teachers stated, he has had a positive outlook on the current circumstances. So much so that after concluding my conversation with him, I even felt better. This glass half full attitude can be a great asset to any classroom, and it is evident that it has been in Cody's case. It is clear to me why Cody has been so successful. As he continues to enjoy his classes and the challenges they bring or play football, Cody's outlook on life is positive. Whether it is his favorite math class or burning off emotions and energy on the football field, participating on student council or seeing his teachers on a daily basis, Cody has a positive outlook and he believes in himself. When you put these 2 aspects together, the sky is the limit. As we say goodbye to Cody at the end of this year, I can tell you that he has had a positive impact on all of his teachers and peers and the entire SMS community. Please join me in congratulating Cody as the 8th grade student.
Congratulations to all our recipients. Folks in the audience, we always love to have these things in the Board of Education meetings. We chose not to. Now is the opportune time to take a role in your mission. So with me, no pressure. Congratulations, Jess. So just to report out a couple of district happenings, curriculum and special services met. Special services we discussed kind of an overview of how the integration of the self-contained classes has been going. Thus far has gone pretty well. Talked about some strategies for trying to bridge the divide with our pre-K groups. Policy met. Basically talked about advancing the mandatory policies. There were 2 first readings which are on the agenda tonight. Community outreach met briefly. One of the focus of the meeting was really Mr. Ross, Mr. D'Agostino, trying to enhance the sound quality and delivery of these meetings. So D'Agostino suggested we look at various options for how to do that. So we're trying to narrow that down to something that may assist in that regard. And I think these type of meetings may continue for some time. I know it's difficult to hear.
very challenging. So today closes that window. So that was very difficult, but hopefully we fulfill that. The other instance, we hit a little hiccup where operationally we had to go totally remote for 2 weeks, but we were able to come back and reconvene. Onset of the school year, we had a little hiccup with one of the motors in the HVAC system at the Wantage school, but we got that repaired over a couple of days. Delayed us a little bit, but then we got in. So my goal has been and continues to be keep schools open as long as we possibly can, so long as we can do that safely. I know that it's been less than ideal for most folks. You don't always agree with this hybrid approach, but it's been functional. One of the challenges that we're meeting with recently that prompted that notification was, my perspective was to give everybody a heads up that this could be happening. The county superintendents met with the Department of Health, so they brought out their epidemiologist, named Mama Shaddad, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, to kind of give us an overview and a heads up that they anticipate that on that chart we talk about, where currently we're yellow, green is the best, after yellow, orange, and red, that they anticipate that that chart is going to move to orange, which is the high-risk category for spread of COVID, right? So as I kind of articulated last time, it's not just the COVID aspect of getting ill. Nobody wants that, obviously. We don't wish that on anybody. But the restrictions that are in place, even now, affect our operations, right? So at this juncture, kind of I'll tell you what we do with COVID, just revisit it, and then what the difference is going to be, according to Mom Shaddad, and in that chart, how we'll have to operate if and when it goes to orange. And they predict if going to orange probably in a week or two. As early as later this week, as late as maybe next week, right? So what we do currently with COVID, right? We get a positive COVID person confirmed via a test. We have to identify all the close contacts of that individual. So close contact, they give you a very specific definition. Somebody who's been within 6 feet for longer than 10 or 15 minutes. And they change that a little bit so that the 10 or 15 minutes is over the course of a whole day, basically. So as difficult as that is for us operationally, we've managed to function like that. So we get the list of, okay, we identify 10 people, students, staff, here's a list of the 10 people, we notify those folks, then the Department of Health notifies those folks, and basically those folks get put into quarantine for approximately 2 weeks. And at the school level, as you can imagine, depending upon who that impacts, it can be challenging to operate. But thus far, Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Gregory, Transportation Department, they do what they have to do. Myself, from our school, we put figuratively duct tape on what we need to put duct tape on, and we keep the operation afloat with the help of faculty and staff, right? When it goes to orange, what they're saying is how we will have to operate, what will be different, is that instead of the person just being COVID positive, right, we have the test results showing that, basically anybody who has a symptom consistent with COVID will have to be treated as such, right? So from that point on, we have to take the person who has the cough and the headache and the stuffy nose, and while we might just tell them now they need to stay home, under orange we have to treat them as COVID until we know otherwise, until they get a test or an alternate diagnosis from a doctor. So we have to identify the close context of that individual, put them out in quarantine. So that process compounds what we already deal with, the challenge of operations. So, you may have seen around the county, the state, different school districts retracting, information about merging cohorts, putting plans on hold. Unfortunately, right now, with that letter, what I was trying to do is give the community a heads up that, while we can hope for the best, I need you to be prepared for the worst, because that may happen. And it would be irresponsible of me to tell you that that's not an intended reality. So I want the community to start preparing for that. The immediate action that I'm comfortable with in my mind, I can say for sure, that we've been talking about all along, how can we integrate those self-contained special ed groups? How can we integrate the Wednesday? Can we get to a point where we merge cohorts? So at this juncture, what I'm saying definitively is I can't move forward on any of those things. Prompted the letter of preparation
comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district? Are there any audience remarks? Yes.
I've brought this up many times before. I'm just wondering if there's a way.
Excuse me, could you just state your name and address for the record?
It's Cassandra Jinks, 29 Harvard.
Thank you.
The way we get information from the district, we get emails, phone calls, there's a parent portal, a website. There are so many different ways that we get information. We need one place to go where we can get all of that. Because I can't remember where I read what. You know, it's so much, it's a lot. Is there any way we can set up a classroom for parents to put, you know, newsletters, different information, like anything pertinent to our kids' school?
I don't know if it means but what we try to do is integrate every announcement, every, update.
Everybody's not getting the same information.
Yeah, so if on the website, what will happen is every time you do a new update, right, you really don't have to have to click on anything. It goes on a pop-up. So as soon as you navigate to our website, a box will pop up on our website with the most current news.
Right, so what, I have to check the website like every day? I don't have to look it up. Like, a lot of us don't have time for that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just to make it just a little bit easier.
So just so I'm clear, the checking of the Google Classroom every day would be different than the checking of the website?
I'm on there every day anyway. Like, just,
You mean your individual child's classroom?
I'm asking for a Google Classroom for parents where we can go on.
There it is.
There we go.
Here's the questions.
There's the parent.
Yeah.
It's on the, I'm sorry.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
function, I'll
You
give you
can
that.
sign up for a parent Google Classroom, so every week you would get a, kind of like a rundown of what your student is missing, what they're getting.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
Yeah, but I think like the district announcements and things like that are not in the Google Classroom unless the teacher would put them in there for their own respective class.
Right, I know, and that's why I'm asking for something like that to make it easier to find the information and get the information.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll check that out and see what we can do on it.
I mean, it's not, you know, just like conferences was like fiasco. Everybody's doing it a different way, and I understand that. It's just like crazy times, and if we can simplify things to make it easier for everybody, I think a lot of parents would be a lot happier.
Yeah. All right, thank you for that feedback.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
I have a question, Andrea Sparta. If we go all virtual, how does that work? Like the teacher, I know some teachers probably want to go in, some want to stay home. Like, are you advised as to if teachers can go in or not? Like, obviously I have a kindergartner, so we get packets. Like, are teachers going to be able to
Yeah, so
give packets? Like, I'm just wondering from the standpoint of, we've been doing this for now, 2.5 months. If we go all virtual, what's going to change?
Yeah.
Because
So on the operational end of the school, like as far as teachers coming in, generating these packets, right now I don't perceive anything changing, so you would still have that opportunity. A change would come potentially, right, if the governor were to put the state or a region of the state into more of a lockdown. And that's not really what we're talking about right now. That would be, I would shape that word to be around that right category. And I don't know if they predict when it's going to happen, she didn't really get into that. So that's part of the challenge right now for me about the broadness of the decision is, how does this impact the community at large, right? Like the last time this happened, by and large, I think most of society was shut down. So parents were, generally speaking, probably home unless you had a job where you had to report, right? So in a scenario like this, like they haven't locked down society, we're going to have a number of parents who continue to have to go to work and things like that. So I know there's a things to follow along with when the student's in the Google Meet, you know? So if you're making a snowman, they have supplies potentially to make the snowman, is what I'm, you know? And without that, makes it, you know, exponentially harder to captivate the attention of especially of the younger child.
Thank you. Yes?
I have a question about that. So every child in the district has the opportunity to do paper versus on the computer.
Yeah, I mean, if you had an issue where our mainstay was Google Meet, like live instruction, that's where we went as a district to try to improve that process. So we're trying to use paper sparingly, aside from these supplemental type things. If you had an issue where you wanted to try to take advantage of a paper packet, and you talk to your child's teacher, your child's principal, we try to dissuade people from just the purpose of, you know, just not the supplemental stuff, but I like to work on the computer, because beyond the computer is much more, you know, that's the best of what we have.
Right, but so every child, like, is that an option, or is it up to the teacher?
I
Because,
think,
you know, if one
it's
child has an issue where they have to do paper, you know, special needs, whatever,
yeah, I think you have that option. I'm just talking to the principal.
well, it's fine. You, like, do they have, is that an option?
Yes, but I'm not putting on a newsletter that, hey, if you want paper copies, come and get them, because then I'm going to have, you know, a massive amount of people wanting paper copies for some reason or another, and we don't have the capacity to produce them.
Okay, but for kids that have the need, it's okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other public comments? Yes.
So in the future, where it is possible and pending remote, and someone around, what teachers will or will not do with this on being in the building or not, I'm willing for administration and to all consider that the teacher be able to be in an environment that they're most comfortable with, as long as they have the technological ability to perform the job the same as if they were in the building or possibly even better. So, for example, buying technology at home does surpass what I have in the building. It's definitely preferable, but I can't necessarily bring my Mac laptop or my MacBook, I'm not here to be able to do that. You know, I thought about the option to answer any questions the board would have, and it's a matter of comfortability for me as an option instead of coming into the building. And there are other teachers who may feel that way. However, a teacher who may say, oh, I have technology at home and I do need to come into the building, I was asking that an option be considered because there are some of us who feel more comfortable in that setting at home for the health concerns and reasons and are able to perform the same, if not better, than the real school.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. You know, I had to come to a realization in my mind that I didn't have the full scope of, you know, what I'm about to describe. You know, not to, there's a difference obviously between being a middle school, high school teacher and you know, a primary teacher, right? So I stumbled out to the realization, you know, one day several months ago. But like where you may, I'm not saying you don't use hands-on materials or constructive this thing or anything, but there's probably more of a attention span for a lecture type environment in a middle school student, high school student. And I had occasion to, you know, work with the Lawrence school staff, in particular the younger, you know, kindergarten group. And you came to the realization that they can't do what they're doing at home. Like they have a much better chance of being successful if they're in the building, right? Because of the resources, almost like an actor or actress has props to work with. Like they have all these tools in their classroom. Because they were, back end of last year, they were like, I need to get into the building. You need to let us in the building. And I couldn't rationalize that in my brain. Like, it's healthy and safe. But they, trying to captivate a young child's attention at home for an hour or whatever it is, without those materials, is far more difficult than I would have thought.
No, I absolutely agree with you, and that's where the option comes into play. Like in this letter that we got out of Karen, just because we go orange, the state goes orange, or it goes orange, does that mean that we will be going remote? Or just because it's orange, we have to see how that's working out for us before we go?
So how they phrase it, right, what they do, and then you decide what the notion is. Red, mandatory, blue, we're telling you have to do it. Orange, it's totally up to you guys, right? Totally up to you guys run the district, you guys make the decision for your district. However, understand that if you continue to operate, this is how you're going to have to operate. These are the constraints that you're going to be under. So you don't have to automatically go orange. We're going to discuss that on Friday with the elected group, so I'll have a more definitive answer for you. But operationally, it's going to be so constricting that it's inevitable that you have to close for some period of time, in my opinion, at this stage.
Thank you, Mrs. Woody. This time we'll move on to the board secretary certification.
Pursuant to NJAC 6A 23A 16.1023, I certify that as of October 31st, 2020, no line item encompasses an expenditure which is total exceeds the line item appropriation in violation of NJAC 6A 23A 16.1023.
Thank you, Mrs. Riker. We will not be going into executive session for agenda items, so we'll move on to the presentation of agenda items.
Thank you, Mr. Vice. The personnel, I would invite 1 through 9.
Looking for a motion on personnel. Thank you, Mrs. Steele. Looking for a second. Mr. Nelson, any discussion on personnel? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Steele? Yes. Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yeah.
Mrs. Randall?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoll? Yes. Mrs. Whitty? Yes. Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The policy will move item number 1, 2.
Looking for a motion on policy 1 and 2, please.
Randall, motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Harrington.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stoll. Discussion on policy. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Randall?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoll? Yes. Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yeah.
Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele? Yes. Mrs. Whitty?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, I move items 1 through 10.
Looking for a motion, please. Mr. Nuss, looking for a second on finance.
I'll second.
Mr. Brandon, any discussion on finance? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Ms. Randall?
Yes.
Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yeah.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoll? Yes. Mrs. Whitty? Yes. Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under special services, I move item number 1 and 2.
I'll make a motion.
Mrs. Stoll, looking for a second.
I'll
second.
You, Mr. Juliano, or Mrs. Whitty, whatever you have.
Good simultaneous.
All right, any discussion? Special services? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Stoll? Yes. Mrs. Whitty? Yes. Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yeah.
Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Ms. Randall?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele? Yes. Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The curriculum, I move item number 1. Those were curriculum guides already reviewed and approved by Stephen Bowman, the county education specialist during the PSAC process. So they met all the requirements that we need.
Looking for a motion on curriculum, please.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Steele, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion on curriculum? Roll call,
Mrs. Steele? Yes. Ms. Randall?
Yes.
Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Mrs. Stahl?
Yes.
Mr. Whitty?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Referring to the amendment of the personnel items 1 through 5, noting that number 2 should read November 16th.
All right, looking for a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Stahl.
Second.
Mrs. Craig, second. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Stahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes-Leon?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele? Ms. Whitty?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, item number 1, to explain to the board that we modified our typical drills to still, enhance safety and evaluation process, but we try to maximize social distancing and control.
Looking for a motion?
I'll motion.
Any discussion on addendum finance? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Nuss?
Yes.
Mrs. Craig? Yes. Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes-Leon?
Yes.
Mrs. Stahl?
Yes.
Mr. Whitty?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, at this time, we will move on to unfinished business. Does anyone on the board have any unfinished business? All right, seeing none, does anyone on the board have any new business?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Wood.
We have a personal development day scheduled for January 14th, I think.
I didn't get that first part.
Personal.
A professional development day scheduled for January 14th,
Okay.
which I believe is Thursday.
Okay.
Is there a way that we can change that to the Wednesday?
I'll have to look at it.
Any other new business? All right, we will move on to audience remarks again. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. Anyone have any further public comments? All right, seeing none, let's take a second.
Yeah, let's do that, maybe 15 minutes.
All right, we're going to have a brief executive session, approximately 15 minutes.
Personnel.
Can I make a resolution?
I have to read the resolution.
Sorry, please.
Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of the public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described in NJSA 10-4-12B 1-9. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education shall enter into closed session to discuss personnel matters. Now therefore be it further resolved by the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education that pursuant to NJSA 10-4-13B, the time when and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public is no need for confidentiality or non-privacy.
Thank you. Looking for a motion, please? Thank you. Looking for a second?
Second.
And then, all in favor? Aye. All right, so there will be no action taken. It will be about 15 minutes. And if you guys would, we would like to use this room to conduct the executive session. So thank you all for